Hey everybody, Tom Britt coming to you live from our Fishers offices right down here in downtown Fishers. I'm with the Town Post Network. I also publish the Fishers and Geist magazines because I live in Geist, but I have a Fishers address like many of you do. And so that's why I'm doing those two magazines. And one of the things that, we talk about the publishing industry in general, and as people start getting online here to watch us here at lunch about our reopening of Fishers, the publishing industry has been really hit pretty hard with this COVID-19, as every industry has. There are local newspapers the local papers here in Fishers and Carmel have gone to mailing only 25% of the circulation and putting people in a rotation. So they're getting a newspaper every month now instead of every week. Other magazines have actually missed doing like an April or a June issue because of COVID-19. They just couldn't get enough advertising revenue to support it. And so the industry has been hit pretty hard. The good news is our industry actually has done very well. Our franchise system, and we're doing very well. So a lot of people have been asking, how's it affected you? Well, we've had a few people we've lost, events that we're advertising that couldn't obviously advertise, but in general, we're doing very well. So thank you guys for asking. And as we talk about this COVID-19 and just what happens after the shutdown of March, I think one of the industries that's hit probably the hardest is the whole gym fitness industry. When you heard that the NCAA tournament was being canceled, I think that was kind of one of those moments where I'll never forget hearing that. I could not comprehend not having an NCAA tournament. And then I heard the order from Governor Holcomb that said that the gyms and salons and everybody else basically had to shut down. They could not operate during this quarantine time. And so as we're going to talk to three different gyms, local gyms right here in Fishers today. We have with us this morning, here we are. This is Amanda Moore with Cycle Bar of Fishers. Good morning, Amanda. I guess good afternoon, as she looks intently on. We also have Sheila Tunison from Max Challenge of Fishers. Good morning and good afternoon to you, Sheila. And we also have Mr. Jake Reardon McSoley of Fishers YMCA. The YMCA, probably one of the bigger gyms here in Fishers, dramatically impacted the COVID-19. So I want to start with, I'm going to start by canceling that out. And I'm going to put the mute on Amanda because she's got birds and kids in the background chirping. Jake, can you hear me okay? As he looks at me and he cannot hear me. Jake, I'm gonna have to come back to you. You can hear me okay? Okay, I'm gonna hide Jake for a minute, okay? And I'm going to bring in Sheila Tunison. Sheila, you can hear me okay, right?
I can hear you, Tom. How are you doing?
Good. So Sheila, I'll start with you. I was going to start with Jake, but his sound is basically off right now. But Sheila's with the Max Challenge of Fishers, and just so you guys know, Max Challenge is right across the street from our offices right here in downtown Fishers. They're next to Nothing Bundt Cakes and a Mexican restaurant. So you got food flanking on both sides and a workout facility in the corner, and the new Village Play Care that just opened up next to you. But Sheila, you guys just started your business a couple of years ago, just over 2 years ago. It's 100% membership driven. You're not making revenue off selling T-shirts and things. So when the governor passed down this order that you had to close, what was going through your mind those first 2 or 3 days?
Those first 2 or 3 days, as well as probably weeks after that, it was nerve-wracking and it was scary. Because when you close down the gym, our first thought was, well, how do we provide services, for our members? So we actually went virtual. Our corporate office was very, very good about very quickly putting a series of meetings together. So we actually started doing virtual classes. Are you still there?
Yep.
Well, I'll keep going. I'm not sure if I'm still there. There,
yes,
am I back now?
Fine. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so we about 3, 4 days in, we were actually running virtual classes. So we ran 3 virtual classes a day. We recorded the first one and put that out on YouTube. So we were able to provide services for our members. We also instituted a reduced rate for our members. That was really more of a community kind of a payback situation. We really wanted our members to, we gave them a 25% discount, really wanted them to take that 25% and give it to a charity of their choice that would help support, any COVID affected areas. So a couple of things we did really, really quickly, and it worked out very, very well. We still have our virtual classes, and I think we're going to probably continue them, not knowing where COVID's, headed in the next 4, 5, 6 months.
Yeah. So I would assume a lot of the government funding that came out as far as PPP loans for those on full-time employees, most of your folks are 1099. They're part-time trainers, I would assume. That was probably of no help. And even the SBA loans that came out, that probably wouldn't help you either, did it? I mean, was there any government support for Max Challenge?
Yeah, PPP was rough because it was so focused on payroll, and protecting the payroll of full-time employees. So that essentially didn't help us too much. It did help a little bit because we did get some money and we were able to help, with the rent, pay some of our rent, things like that, the 25% that we could. Well, now it's 60-40, so the 40%. And we went ahead and put in for the disaster loan, and we did receive funds from that as well. So that probably was more helpful than anything, just to sustain us, because we didn't have that business the business contingency, the insurance, where your business is interrupted. Business interruption. I couldn't think of the right word. Okay. We didn't have that insurance. It wasn't covered by our policy. So any revenue that we lost, we weren't going to recoup that way. So the SBA loan did the disaster loan.
Right. That's good. I'm going to bring in, let's see if I can get Amanda in here now. So Amanda, I'm going to bring you in. This is Amanda Moore. She's with Cycle Bar of Fishers. Amanda, can you hear me okay now? And Amanda is not hearing me, so I'm going to have to hide her. I'm going to try to bring in, actually, I know what I can do. I can unmute you. So Amanda, can you hear me now? She's having a hard time. Guys, this is live, and we're doing it. We're doing this live on Facebook, which is never a good idea, but it's just fun to do. Amanda, can you hear me at all? She's looking like she does not hear me. All right, I'm going to hide her. Let's bring in, let's try Jake Reardon McSoley. Jake Reardon McSoley, can you hear me? All right, I'm just going to cut him off and make him come back in. And I'm going to make Amanda come back in. And this is what happens. This is what happens when you bring in, when you do things live, Sheila. So
yeah.
you're learning the,
I was about me, my old phone.
My job. There you go. All right, I'm going to bring in Jake. Jake, can you hear me now?
I can.
It looks like Jake from State Farm is coming in over there. So Jake Reardon McSoley with the Fishers YMCA. Jake, you've probably got one of the largest membership bases, I would assume, in Fishers as far as fitness facilities goes. You've got a lot of revenue streams to offset your overheads. So you've got camps and classes and swim camps and everything else. What was going through your head? Because you've got all these employees, you've got this huge facility and 20,000 plus members. What went through your head when the governor came in and said, shut it down?
Yeah, it was tough. I believe it was like a Friday. We got all these adjustments and new protocols, and then by Monday night, everything was closed down permanently. And I mean, some of the things going through our head was certainly we wanted to be safe and be a part of the efforts to stem the pandemic. However, we're also looking out we have 450 total staff at our Fishers Y. Vast majority of them are part-time staff. And so, immediately we had to stop all of those revenue streams you just mentioned, Tom. No membership, no programs. So, And we had to do some very nimble pivoting very quickly. Within that first week, we started developing virtual programming and partnering with Les Mills, a kind of international group exercise brand, to do at-home workouts for our members and for the community as well. And we developed a large kind of content library for our YMCA to do online. We also started doing outreach immediately to our senior members. We called all 2,500 of our senior members individually more than once during the pandemic. And we also immediately started setting up essential care and first responder emergency child care, which was great to be able to serve in that capacity. But it was a game changer. It was, a massive change to our business.
And I would assume, I would have to guess, I hate to even ask, but people are probably canceling their memberships, aren't they, if they can't come into the gym? I mean, did you have a big fallout of people just calling you and say cancel it because I'll get it going again and I can come back?
Yeah, we tried to do some proactive communication with our members, and we're a nonprofit. We just kind of let them know about those things I just mentioned about what we were doing while we were closed, and that we would love their support, but understand that everyone's in a different financial place. And if it's not a fit, we absolutely understand if you'd like to go on a hold or if you need to cancel your membership. And so a significant number of folks did wind up canceling or putting their memberships on hold. But actually a surprisingly high number of folks stayed with us. And so we wound up keeping about 66% of our members even through the closure time. And the rest all went on holds or canceled. Some of those are coming off holds now that we've been reopened for almost 5 weeks now. And some are still waiting until the timing feels a little bit better.
Gotcha. We'll come back and ask a couple more questions. I've got to try to get Amanda into our feed here. Let's see if I can get Amanda in. Okay, well, hang tight, Amanda. You're coming in. There she is. Amanda, can you hear me now?
I can, yes.
Hey, technology sometimes works. It's very dependable. It's going to work sometimes.
I find that at
This is Amanda Moore with Cycle Bar of Fishers, and Cycle Bar of Fishers is located in the Yard. You guys had just opened up earlier this year. You just had some restaurant openings around you. 1933 opens, HCC opens, murals are being painted, all this momentum, and then this COVID thing hits and shuts you down. You had emailed me probably a month into this whole COVID quarantine. I call it the shutdown. And you guys had to do some interesting things. So first of all, tell people what Cycle Bar is, because you're not just serving drinks and stuff on motorcycles. Tell people what Cycle Bar is, and then what you guys had to do to pivot.
Yeah, well, we do have some mimosas and fun rides and happy hour rides. The bar and Cycle Bar, actually refers to the weighted bar, because we're a premium indoor cycling fitness studio, and we do have a song that has a whole weighted bar segment, so it's total body, and that is where the bar and Cycle Bar comes. Gotcha. When I bought a Cycle Bar, I had to learn that myself. So
that's interesting. Yeah. So you had to pivot because people couldn't come into your place and drink mimosas and ride bikes, right?
Yeah, it was scary. The day before we shut down, I was actually out catching up with the owner of the tropical smoothie next door, and we were like, we don't know what's going to happen, what's going on. And the next day we had to close. So we have there's about 200 Cycle Bars, but we're a franchise, but to our franchisors' credit, they gave us all flexibility to do what we needed to do to survive because we had no income. I paused our membership, so we had nothing coming in, to try to save what we could and to help out with the community. We had opened very strong, first in the country actually of openings, and there was a lot of chatter on an owner's Facebook group of what to do, and I decided, let's go for it. Let's rent our bikes. The day after we closed, I had our manager put out an email to rent bikes. Less than 24 hours later, we sold or rented every 40 of our 45 bikes in the studio. So that helped with cash flow.
So you took the bikes in the studio and you flipped them into rentals, and people could take them home and they could rent your bike.
Yes, and then we had some amazing instructors who, God bless them, did some live workouts and things for free, and we created our own hub because we found our members really wanted to work out with our Cycle Bar stars and not other instructors. And so they did classes for them from free for their own homes, and we created this community from home when we couldn't be in the studio. it was a gamble. It was like, we got to do what we got to do, but it did help, you know, and it created a lot of engagement for us and the community and a sense of this belonging and a lot of appreciation while we were all at home. So,
Well, so where are you standing now? Are the bikes back in and the rentals are over, or what?
Yeah, so we were able to reopen in May. You know, we had a couple who I felt like they really got attached to those bikes, but everybody else, majority, it was, you know, helpful to give them back. We are open with, instead of 45 bikes, 12 bikes in the meantime. So we re-rented out the remaining bikes for the first month of our opening. So the rest of the bikes were just delivered back this week. So They actually had them for our first month opening. We did like a hybrid model at first.
Okay, so you're back open.
Totally winging, came up with the whole idea myself and said, let's just go for it. So
did the other Cycle Bar franchisees, did any of those pick up the same model and run with it too?
They did. And the interesting fact is, like, throughout the course of this, almost every studio has done the same exact thing. We have some that still have not opened in the country, and they're still just going with the same model.
Wow, that's interesting. So maybe Cycle Bar changes their whole business model based on your idea of Fishers in the yard.
Yeah. We're all looking at what are other models, what do we do? Or, you know, most of our studios, we have 45 bikes, some have 50. So we're like, do we go to a half, you know, sort of model where there's 20 some bikes in a studio? You know, there's some changes going on with that. And what do we do from here on out? Yeah.
That's interesting. So yeah, I just brought Jake Amp into your conversation there. That's the beauty of live video. You know, you can always just bring people in, and I can turn their volume off. I can make sure they can't hear the birds in the background. And I think we just lost Amanda once and for all. Here she comes back. All right. So I'm going to bring you back, Amanda. I promise. You haven't been cut out. Jake is coming back. Yeah, we're having a little bit of a glitch with the platform this morning or this afternoon. It's bringing in sound isn't working for you, so it could be our fiber. Who knows? So let's start with. I want to go back to Jake for a second because Jake, I gotta ask you, what's going on with all your summer camps and all the things you normally do in the summer? Are you still doing those? Let me get her out here. Let me get her out here.
And I'm going to log out and log back in. Oh.
There you are. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. So, you got to love live television. So, Jake, I have to ask you, what's going on with your summer camps and all the things you guys normally do in the summer? Because that place is busy in the summer. What's going on with your camps and things?
Yeah, so it's a different summer for us. We actually are not doing summer camp this year. We've kind of adapted and evolved our program. We are offering something in summer. It's called Summer Childcare. We've really made massive adjustments to what we normally would do. Low kind of numbers, max numbers, lower ratios. All of our staff are given a temperature check and wear masks and have medical screening questions when they check in. Same thing with the kids when they come in. They're not required to wear a mask, but we do have social distancing throughout the day. We've partnered with several offsite areas so that we can kind of spread out even more. But it's a very different summer for us. A lot of fun activities for the kids, but there's also a lot of different things that we normally would be doing. For example, like archery that we're just not doing because there's too many common touch points. And we're trying to be as safe as possible. But it's also evolving. You know, as the governor has the Indiana Back on Track stages, we're, you know, adjusting and adapting through that. So, of course, we're in stage 4 right now. Stage 5 will be coming up a week from tomorrow, and we'll be able to do a little bit more and get a little closer to what we, you know, are used to doing in the summertime.
That's interesting. I think a lot of people, we don't think of these camps and things, but there's a lot of parents that rely on those camps for their kids every summer. And I'm going to bring Sheila Tunison back in from Max Challenge. And Sheila, can you hear me okay?
Yep, sure.
So Sheila, what does the next month or two look like for the Max Challenge? Because obviously you got to get those members coming back in, but your whole model and being a client, I know the model, it's giving out high fives. You know, it's a lot of close interaction with other people working out at the same time, flip that thing on its head. So what's it look like for you guys the next couple of months? How are you guys adjusting to this?
So we've made several adjustments. We do really a lot of social distancing. We actually have our mat all set up so that we have pathways for people to get to X's that are on the mat, and the X kind of marks your spot. That's what we call it. So we have limited the number that can come in. So we have a 7-foot distancing, between the X's so that the people can get to their space, and then they can also leave from their space, all while social distancing. They take their water, they take their towels, sweat towels, things like that to their space with them. So we don't dismiss people in the class to go get drinks of water and things like that. They can, of course, leave to go to the restroom or something if they need to via the path. So we've done several things as far as that goes. We are still running our virtual classes because we don't have enough mat space. Due to the fact that we've had to reduce the number of classes that we have because we have cleaning protocols that we now can't, institute if we have classes that are back to back like we had before. So lots of things that we've changed, like I said, just to make sure we're social distancing, that we also have time to clean the center, and the center is we're following the protocols that have been set by the CDC as well as our corporate office on how we have to clean in between. And we're using limited equipment as well. And there's no equipment sharing. So we actually take weights out, put them on the spot for the people. And then they leave them there. We clean them and, re-rack them between classes. So it's been quite the experience. I mean, our center has always been very, very clean, and we feel like it has, we keep it very, very clean, but the protocols that we have to do now sure have changed things.
I would think they would. I'm gonna try to bring in Amanda one more time because I keep hearing old children in the background, and I hear little birds chirping. So I know Amanda's back with us again. Amanda, apologize for the technical glitches on you in particular, but what does the next couple of months, 3 months, look like for you guys? Because you had to kind of pivot. It works. Thank God, but it sounds like you got to somehow find a happy medium here going forward, and this COVID thing's not going away anytime soon. So how do you guys adjust for the next 2 to 3 months?
Correct. And the happy medium has been the challenge, and what we're really trying to strive for as a studio is how do we do our best for the members who are anxious to be back in? We have not had a lot of cancellations. We have had a lot of pauses. And that's a good sign because folks want to come back. There's just some tentativeness and, fear on that end. The one thing we do have going for us as a studio is we have a one touch point system. You can check in for your class on your phone. You don't have to touch anything else. You only have to touch your bike, and there's no other piece of equipment, and then you leave. And then just as like Max said, we're implementing all these additional sanitation measures and all of this. But it is, and we will increase capacity of our bikes from the 12 to about half. We're still not going to go full to 45, even though we're able to and allowed to, per the governor's recommendations, if all is going well in July. Our members that are back, they still stress that they don't feel fully comfortable with 45 people in our small studio at one time. So we have to listen to that and adjust accordingly. And while hoping people still unfreeze, but also being aware that this is real and we have to be, mindful and, cross out, do what we can do. Retail is a big component for us, or had been. We've been very successful in that, and that doesn't happen right now. So there's a lot of ifs. The one thing that we hold is that, we have the, we have the pauses. We have folks that want to come in. All of our classes are on wait lists, so they're all full, but we still have a lot of members that, have yet to be able to feel comfortable return, so it's a balance for sure.
Right. Well, and that's good to hear. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to bring in everybody here, and we'll try to get everybody in the feed all at the same time. So I have one big happy Brady Bunch family here at the very end. Just as a parting shot, I just want to thank you guys for taking a few minutes to spend some time with me and just letting everybody know the challenges you guys have been facing. And it's an ongoing challenge. This is not over yet. It's good to know that you guys have adjusted and you're adapting. In the case of Amanda, she actually kind of turned her whole business model upside down and found a way to make revenue and to make lemonade out of lemons, or I should say margaritas out of lemons, because they do have a full bar there. But I just think when you look at the gym industry and the impact of memberships, because let's face it, you're all depending on that membership coming in renewal every month. And that's based on habit. You're hoping that people have the habit of coming into Max Challenge or coming into the Y or coming into Cycle Bar and working out. And when people break that habit for 3 months and then they start coming back, it's hard to get people back in that habit again. And I think that's going to be an ongoing challenge for all of you. I hope that the locals will hear this and see this and realize, hey, I need to get my membership off pause. I need to get going back in there again. Hey, Jake and the guys at the Y, they're clean place. This is not dirty. It's being disinfected probably 20 times a day, more so than it needs to be. But that's happening, and I think it's incumbent upon us as Fishers residents to reach out and try to come back and support these local businesses. So I just want to say thank you guys. Best of luck to you, and hopefully we can stay in touch over the next months and see some progress. And if you guys have press or anything you're trying to get out news-wise, please let us know. We're happy to share that through our social channels.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank
Everybody
you
have a good afternoon.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Absolutely. All right. Well, you guys, we can network afterwards, but we'll get the feed shut down and we'll let everybody get back to Friday. Have a great weekend, everybody. Fishers Farmers Market's tomorrow and 4th of July is next weekend. So get ready for a slower summer than normal, but at least a fun with your family. Take care, everybody.